So a couple of weeks back, I made the Z5 II review, and I said that the Z5 II is competing with so many different cameras at so many different price points. It is competing with the Z6 II, the Sony A7 IV, the A7C II, the A7 III, because they're still in the market, the A7 III's, the Canon R6 II, and the Canon R8. There's just so many things going for it. All right. So a very good speed of shooting, like 11 frames a second, that my Sony A7 IV can't do at 14 bits. It can do 10 frames per second highest at mechanical shutter, but it drops down to 12 bit. So, and if you want to shoot at 14 bit, you can only do up to 66 frames a second. The R6 to R8 has so many compromises. All right. So the Z6 II and the Z7 II are previous generation Nikon cameras with XP 6 processors. You don't have 10-bit footage in them. So the Nikon Z6 II, for the price, and by the way, this is only the launch price, and you're likely to have store discount. And a few months on, you're going to see a couple of $100 slashed from $1,700, and you're going to probably get the camera at 1500 or 1450. So I know what I said. I know that that particular camera, the Z5 II, competes with so many and just challenges the conventions of the entry level full frame market, and also the mid tier 2000, around $2,000 market standards. So I think I said it just cluster bombs the market, sort of. It does. All right. So, and then when I launched the video, a lot of you came in and said a lot of excited and inspired stuff, and you were very happy. And a lot of people said some very strange things, and they're ostensibly sort of mean. And I did. Someone said that I have a weird accent. Okay, and then said something with the camera. I think I blocked that guy because you know what? Because I don't feel like responding to these comments. So what I do is I don't want to reply to them. And if I don't reply to these comments they kind of float on my YouTube Studio app, and I keep like I have to whenever I open that app, I can see that comment, that upsetting comment on the channel, and I don't know what to do. So I kind of at times I react uh, with anger, which I think I should stop doing. At times I just I block them. So for this particular guy, I think I blocked him. Now, the thing is, I looked at all the comments, and all the comments are extremely defensive. Especially, I got a lot of Canon guys coming in defending, saying that the R6 II is fantastic. It's definitely is the camera to go for. And I said, look, the R6 II is limited. The dynamic range is not as good as Z5 II's, and the R6 II's price is still higher than the Z6 II's, the Z5 II's. Also, the R6 II has C-Log 3, which is not as good as N-Log. N-Log can be improved, and Nikon should launch N-Log 2, but C-Log 2 is not as good as N-Log. So, the reality is that I think a lot of people just cannot digest the fact that their camera is not number one anymore. And I just don't get it, because you obviously you first bought a Canon R6 II about 2 years back, or even maybe more, um, even maybe older. Some of you bought your first A7 almost 4 years back. Okay, all right, if not 4 years, 3.5 years back, easily. I have been owning an A7 IV for 3 years, almost 3 years, and initially I was not sure, and in video I don't like the color as much, but in photos the color is very, like, you can, if you're actually shooting in raw, and then if you have the time to edit, when I have the time to edit, I can easily shoot it, the A7 IV, and get the files look almost exactly like the my Nikon files, like the Z8 and the Z6 III files. But if I don't have the time and I'm going to just shoot JPEGs, I go for my Nikons, and that's about it. I don't reach out for my A7 IV in that situation. When someone else is shooting with me and that guy is familiar with Sony, so I give him my A7 IV, because most people are familiar with Sony. because Sony has, I think, at least in my market, the highest market share. But I don't get this the kind of insecurity and the and therefore the hate and the vitriol that you tend to get whenever you kind of you just state facts. I just state facts, and people just can't take it. The fact is the Z5II's autofocus is as good as the A7C2 or even better, I would say. Okay, I did this, obstacle test. Like you shoot, the camera has to pick up a subject through a window, and the Z5II did remarkably well. I remember when the Z8 first came out in that kind of situation. I remember shooting this Z8 last year, and through a window, the Z8 was not being able to pick up the person behind the window. It was picking up the net on the window, right? The grills on the window. So, but the Sony A7 IV on the same day, I changed the camera, and the Sony A7 IV could immediately pick up the subject's eye through the window. And today, when the Nikon Z5II is doing that same thing, and if I'm telling you it is doing that, what's the problem? Why can't you accept it? Why are you still fighting? Why? What have I said something wrong about your wife or your mom? Have I said something? What have I said? I'm only talking about what I have found. When you buy something, you don't use my money, you spend your money. So I don't care what you buy. But at least look, and I'm a very small channel. Okay, you've got to understand, no one sponsors this channel. Not yet. I'm asking for sponsorship. If anyone is willing in a position to give me a sponsorship in this channel, please do so. But I don't get sponsorships. No one pays me to do any content. I go to my ways to rent gear, have relationship with Fuji or Nikon, and in this thing that, maybe when they have time, when they can give me the gear one day, you can spare a weekend, they'll give me that, and they often do, not always, often. I recently did the I am you're going to see the 135 1.8s planar review. I made 2-3 videos on it. I've been using it for about a week, and I've been asking for this lens for more than a year. More than a year. This lens has gone to wedding photographers, big wedding photographers, content creators who clearly are in a much better position to be able to afford this lens, because they clearly need this lens more often, and not just for a review or some experience of this lens. And those guys haven't bought this lens. That they kept taking this lens from Nikon, and some of them have even slightly dented the lens. What am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you that in the order of things, I got this lens after a year. Like like the excitement about the Plena is almost not there. Maybe it's there, I don't know, but it's definitely not fresh new. It's definitely not hot news on the internet, right? So, but I kept asking for it. I kept waiting for it. I finally got this lens, and review I make, every review I make from on any product, if there is a problem, I highlight it. Because you know what? Because I'm deep into the Nikon system, I'm deep into the Sony system, I'm deep into the Fuji system, I'm considering the Lumix system as well. And I pay with my own money when I buy this product. So if I can't recommend a product for myself, I'm not going to recommend it for you. And be sure of that. Okay. No one pays me. No one gives me a lens and asks me to keep it. So yeah. So that's the whole thing. And all the vitriol, the hate that I got from the Sony people and the Canon people, I got your problem. You have some personal inadequacies going on. Like you're trying to compensate for something with your camera brand. Like who are you winning, man? Just because you just try to hate on someone on the internet. It's very difficult to have this kind of conversation and then not use bad language. Which, like, whenever I'm stopping and I'm thinking, I'm actually thinking how not to hurl and abuse. And so, like, it's a challenge, to be honest. Like if you read through the comment section and just search frames TMZ52, You'll get that review. I think this is video made by Matt, the Australian guy who used to be the Nikon guy sometime back. About 1.5 years back, when he's finally sold off all his F mount gear and I think all of his Sony gear as well, and he bought into the Z mount fresh after the launch of the Z9. I remember he said that he's not keen on getting into this Sony system as a YouTuber just because of the acidity and the poison in that community. He just said it plain. I think the way Sony makes the cameras, beautiful, light, very, very professionally equipped. I think they make beautiful, amazing products. But I happen to use Nikon more. I see more value in their optical, work. I think they make much better lenses. So I tend to invest more in the Nikon stuff. But yeah, I love Sony for what it is. There's fringe trolls who come in and say these things. I don't know how to deal with you guys. I just don't know. Should I just be abusive? Should I? I don't know what to do. I just wanted to say this. I think I wanted to say this for a while, so I'm saying it. At times, these things can get very confrontational, and the intent was to sort of not be that. Okay. At the same time, I want to be clear. I want to be transparent. I want to say what I want to say and speak my mind. Anyway, I don't know whether I've offended some of you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Help me reach 8,000 subscribers soon. I want conversations, but not hateful drama. I mean, if you have logic, if you have thoughtfulness, share that. Share that. Definitely have a conversation, with guys. I mean, it's absolutely fine. It's fun to exchange ideas. It's just stupid to brand people this or that and just start to, uh, you know, yeah, just don't do that. See you. I know I'm not talking to you. You're probably not that guy. I'm sorry if you. This is not to you. This is about those idiots who wrote those comments on my Z5 II review video. Those kinds of people, the trolls, not you. I didn't mean you. I meant them. See you.